Shalom Aleichem Rabotai. It is Tes Sivan, and the Mishnah Yomi continues in the 9th parak of Sheviit at the 6th Mishnah. We are still on the topic of Biur, which is when a species that somebody picked from Hefker on Shvius and kept in his house for his own personal use, when that runs out from the field, it's not available to the wild animals, then Biur is required. We'll discuss what that actually is a bit later, but basically someone has to take it out and make it Hefker. And keeping the Shemitah produce in one's own house and not taking it out at the deadline makes it now usher to use. So the 6th Mishnah, the 9th parak, reads, a melokit asavim lachim, somebody who plucks moist grass, ad sheyivosh hamatok. He can keep it, it's not subject to biur, until it dries up the matok. Matok usually means sweetness. Here it means like the moisture in the ground. So as long as the ground is still moist, then we assume there is moist grass available somewhere for the animals, and it's not yet chayiv in biur. Ha-megabev biyavesh, somebody who gathers up dry grass. You'll note that this is a different verb. Meloket is like plucking or cutting off. Megabev is like gathering. So one's gathering up dry grass. What shetered revia shnia, he can keep it until the second rain, and this is even the second rain of the 8th year. So it's already in Mar Cheshvan of the 8th year. That's when dry grass is not really available. Now there's probably some grass somewhere, but at the time of the second rain, it kind of starts to rot, and it's not really as edible anymore for the animals. So that would be the biur for dry grass. Ole konim ve'ole gefonim, leaves from reed plants or leaves from grapevines, ad sheyishru me'avihim. You can keep them, they're not yet subject to biur, until they fall down from their father, meaning they fall off the plant, at which point the animals don't eat them, they're not good, not delicious anymore, and they're subject in biur. Ha-megabev biyovesh, somebody who's gathering up dried leaves, ad shetered revia shnia. You can keep them until the second rain, again in the 8th year, at which point they're not good anymore outside. Rabbi Akiva says all of these items until the second rain falls. So Rabbi Akiva does not differentiate between wet grass and dry grass. He says grass is grass is grass. It's all right, and you can keep it until the second rain, again of the 8th year. Mishnah Zayin. Kiyotze bo, similarly to this, and this is not a Shvius Mishnah, but since we've mentioned the second rainfall, which is in the month of Mar Cheshvan, we've mentioned other items that depend on this cutoff date. Hamaskir bayit lechavero ad geshamim, if you rented out your house to your fellow until the rains. So what did he mean? Ad shetered revia shnia. So the first rain, we discussed this in the Gemara in Tainit. There's a series of rains. There's really 3 major rain periods in Eretz Yisrael, and the first rain wasn't really as important, but the second rain in Mar Cheshvan was sort of the main rain. When someone says, oh yeah, we'll rent the house until the rain, that's what they meant, the Revia Shnia in Mar Cheshvan. Hamuder chana mechavero, somebody who takes a neder, he will get no benefit for his friend. Don't do this, Rabosai. That's until the Geshamim. So it's like the nuclear bomb of Nedarim. It's basically saying, I want nothing to do with you, and I ban myself from having any hana from this person. And it's really a way of cutting a person out of your life. Now sometimes a person just doesn't get along with you and is very toxic, and it's true, you should avoid that person, but not by taking a neder, not by taking a religious oath that you'll have nothing to do with them. Because what if they need help? What if you need to help them unload their camel? That's also a mitzvah in the Torah. What if they need tzedakah? That's also a mitzvah in the Torah. So you don't want to cut people off from your life. If you need to avoid somebody, go to the base medrash, learn Torah. Be osik in Torah and mitzvot. Don't fixate on another person who's wronged you. Don't start making vows. It's also a serious avera to make vows that shouldn't be kept, or that vows that need to be annulled. So anyway, that's until the second rain in Mar Cheshvan, ad shetered revia shnia. Good, the Mishnah continues, ad eimatzai aniyim nichnasim the pardesot, until when can poor people go into the orchards to gather, the corners and the gifts that are left to the poor. Ad sheterid reviya shniya, until the second rains fall. Until when can you benefit and burn the stubble and the straw that you gathered on Shvius? B'sheterid reviya shniya, until the second rain. So at this point, he would do biur on the straw that's left over from Shemitah. Again, this is the 8th year we're talking about now. And at that point, once you do biur, it loses the kedusha of Shemitah after the biur deadline is up, and he can resume burning it. Shkoyach Rabosai.